Hi, Hiro. How are you?
And I'm good. And you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And I'm sorry that usually this would be in person. So I'm sorry that we're not able to come in person and host this interview with you.
No problem.
Okay, great. Well, I know that so you arrived mid-February, and so this has been a little over 4 months since you arrived to the US. And since we had our first interview with you, just talking about how your arrival is and what life in the US has been like so far. So this will just be kind of a follow-up to that, and we'll just kind of see how you've been doing in the past 4 months.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I know when we last spoke, we asked you what you were nervous about, and you said nothing out of the ordinary, just adjusting to a new environment, people, and policies. So, how has this changed in the past 4 months? Do you feel a little more at ease about these items?
Yes, I do. I will say, I had to. Nursing in the US is it's a little bit different.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little bit different from Kenya. So you have to be able to learn a few things and be able to practice them. Uh, you have to gain a few skills that the skills that we never used in Kenya. Like for example, I will give an example of the chatting. You have to be good with computer chatting. So if someone is in has not yet come to the States and they have enough time, they can be able to practice chatting. Be good with the keyboard. It will save you some time because here also you will find out that time is precious. And when you get into a shift, you have to make sure that you are able to do all your tasks within a specified period of time, because you have to make sure, for example, by the end of the shift, you've done all the procedures and also all the chattings.
Yeah. And then something else that you told us about back in February when we sat down with you, we asked you what you were most looking forward to. And you said meeting new people, making new friends, furthering your career, and taking part in research at the hospital. Have you been able to accomplish any of these?
Yeah, I have been able to meet a couple of new people. I've made friends here. People here are welcoming, people are friendly.
Yeah.
And also at the workplace, colleagues and even patients, they're quite friendly, and they they usually, once they know that you've come outside the US, they want to know where you've come from. They're quite friendly and they're interested. As you give them the nursing care, they also want to hear different stories. They want, like for example, in Kenya, then we are known for wildlife, so they usually ask me what kind of animals that we have in Kenya. So I usually try to explain the wildlife and about the wildebeest migration, which I've been able to. I was fortunate to go to the Masai Mara once, so I explain a little bit to them, and they appreciate. So it also helps me to create a rapport with the patients.
Yeah, wonderful. And then what has it been like connecting with other Shearwater nurses that are also in Oklahoma City?
If I would have been alone here, it would have been difficult for me. But adjusting has been so easy because I have people, I can be able to ask questions, and they can be able to. I can also be able to ask for help whenever I need help. So, having neighbors that you know uh, here where I live and also at the workplace, it's quite good, because also one of my preceptors at work was a Shearwater health nurse, and he was quite knowledgeable, and I learned a lot
And then in general, what has surprised you about life in the US?
Here in Oklahoma, I will say it's a big town, and like in Nairobi, where I am from, it's also a big city, but here it's a little bit bigger because you have to cover a lot of space. So shopping is a little bit far, not very far, but it's a little bit far. So everything is kind of spread out. You don't have buildings like in Kenya, where all the buildings are in one place. So you find that stuff like the post office is different, shopping you do it different, malls are in different places. So yeah, that was quite shocking to me because I'm used to an environment whereby when you go to town, everything is clustered in one place, but here it's spread out.
Yeah, so running errands is a little bit more difficult.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you learned to drive? Is this something that you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I'm planning to do my test. I haven't yet scheduled my test. Because of the COVID thing, they were closed. But I'm trying to see when I can try to schedule the exam.
Great. And then kind of thinking back on your journey to the US, is there anything that you would have done differently, knowing what you know now?
I had mentioned before, I'm good with computers, but if I had, I had known that chatting is a big part of work, because documentation here is vital. I would have practiced more with chatting, and another thing is that. With the head to toe exam, okay, I knew that it's important, and I had started, trying to perfect the art, but there are some things that I would have done better. I would have sharpened my skill much better because the physical exam is something you do each and every day. So you need to have the finer details. So in as much as we do the physical exam, try and hone your skills so that you can be able to do it very well. And also another thing is fixing IV lines. I was an average person when it came to fixing IV lines because in Kenya we had the clinicians were mostly the ones who fixed the IV lines. We used to fix them when the clinicians were not there, but if someone can be able to perfect that art, it will be quite helpful. Yeah.
Great. And then what about aside from nursing? So is there anything else that, you wish you would have known prior to coming to the US, or anything you could have done to prepare?
Yeah. For someone, because settling down when you come to the US, it's quite expensive. So if you can be able to cut your expenses when you come, there are people who come and do their shopping here. But I will suggest maybe if someone is coming first, maybe you can get the other basic things, from home. Because when you come here, you do not know exactly the shops that you can get things at a cheaper price. So you might end up spending more during the first days because you do not know where you can buy cheap stuff and all that. But if you can come with a little bit supplies from home, it will help a bit. Yeah.
Great. And then I wanted to kind of address the current state of the world. So since you have arrived to the US, you've experienced a crazy first couple of months. We had COVID to begin with. So COVID began about a month after you entered the US, and your unit actually turned into a COVID unit. So can you tell us a little bit about that and what you experienced in your first couple months working in a COVID unit?
Yeah, I will say that, okay, at first it was scary, because um, we were able to, see in the news and read on the internet and, be able to talk to people about COVID, and it looked like, it's a very it's a very dangerous disease, and the fatalities were high and rising, so everyone was scared. But the good thing is that we were able to learn that with the protection, PPEs, personal protection equipment, you can be able to protect yourself, and it's something you can do. You can be able to take your care of patients who are COVID, who have COVID, and you are able to come out of the shift without being infected.
And then the second thing that you have experienced since you've been in the US is the Black Lives Matter movement. So, can you kind of elaborate on what this has been like for you and what it's been like living in the US while this has been ongoing?
Yeah. I will say that, okay, nothing has changed. It's only that, people are talking about it, and some of our colleagues, share their experiences. Some of our patients share the experiences. Some of the people that we live with here share the experiences, and everyone has that opinion that things are not right, and everyone wants things to get better. And but for me, being a Black person, an African, I haven't been had any problems concerning the Black Lives Matter or anything. I haven't had any racial problems or discrimination. So, but everyone wants things to be better. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So now I wanted to move on and talk a little bit more about what nursing in the US has been like for you and what you're looking forward to. So first, what are you most looking forward to in your nursing career in the US?
So what I'm looking forward to is, to try and perfect my nursing skills, because as we all know, as nurses, you have to keep on improving and learning more, because healthcare and nursing in general is dynamic. It keeps on changing. So you have to be open-minded and be a person that you can ask questions whenever you are stuck somewhere. You should be able to ask questions, and try and look for causes that can be able to help you give good quality care.
And then what has surprised you most about nursing in the US? So what were you least expecting?
Nursing in the US, I will say, is quite demanding. People think it's easy, but it's not easy, because you tend to do a lot for the patients. The responsibility bestowed. Okay, I'll say even in Africa we have a big responsibility, but I will say that the responsibility that a nurse holds is quite big, because you are the one with the patient, so you need to be very keen and have a keen eye, so that you can be able to see any deviation from normal, so that you can be able to intervene. So nursing here is it's not as easy as people think, and it is very physical, because you tend to walk a lot during the shifts. I will say 80% of the time, you are walking on the hallway. 80% of the time you are walking, so it's only 20 or 10% that you'll be chatting. So you need to be very fast, because you do not get time to chat in. You don't get enough time to chat, so you have to be quite fast. But it depends. It's not. But I think my flow is a very fast flow. I think there are flows that are slower, but my flow is quite fast because we have acute patients who need who need intense care, but the flows that are quite slow. But for me, what I would say, my flow is quite fast. So we are literally on our feet about 80% of the time. So it's quite physical. It's quite physical, and yeah, that it was quite shocking for me because yeah, the environment is fast paced. Yeah.
And then how have you grown in your nursing career since you have been in the US?
My skill set has grown. There are things that I wasn't very good at them, but right now I've honed them and I'm better. I'm still learning, I would say. I'm still learning. I still have a lot to learn.
What challenges have you faced in your nursing career since you have been in the US?
Being in a fast-paced flow, at first it was a little bit difficult because there are some things, especially when you are out of orientation, it was a little bit difficult for me because you will find out that people are busy. Sometimes you cannot be able to find people because they're in the rooms. So you need to ask something, but you have to pause a bit and look for colleagues to help you. So it kind of slows you down because you have to slow down and ask a few questions here and there because there are things that are not quite clear. So that was something that it was a hindrance at first, but now that I'm able to do most of the stuff on my own, I can be able to do my procedures and my tasks in time. So that the fact that I had to wait and ask my colleagues about procedures and policies about patients, it slowed me down. But once I came to know what I should do, it was easy for me.
And thinking about your goals, so before you arrived to the US, I'm sure you had goals for yourself. How have they changed since you've been here? Do you still have the same goals?
Yeah, I still have the same goals. It's only that I'm waiting for the right time to achieve and actualize some of the goals because I had to settle down and first learn how work is done. So I have to kind of take things one step at a time. So currently my goal was to come and hone my skills, learn, meet new friends, and that's what I'm still currently pursuing. And ultimately, go back to school. That one I haven't done yet because I'm still, kind of acclimatizing to the environment at work and, at home here. But I will say I'm taking it one step at a time.
Great. And then what did you expect before coming and working at Oklahoma University Medical Center? And how does your current experience compare?
One thing that I'm fortunate about the place that I'm working is that the staff are very friendly and they're willing to impart the knowledge, share the knowledge that they have, teach you. So that has been an asset here. If the environment was different and they were not friendly and willing to share the knowledge that they have, it would have been very difficult for me. So, the fact that the hospital has very good staff, that have a lot of teamwork and the understanding has helped a lot. But the fact that, the staff, they are quite friendly and good, it helped me. And also here, the fact that we have a lot of Shearwater health nurses, it's also a plus, because these are people, who came outside the US just like me, and they share, a few tricks here and there on how to do things. Yeah, so and it has been quite helpful.
Good. Well, you kind of answered some of my next questions. So, on the arrival, when we were touring the hospital together, we were able to meet your manager and some of your colleagues. How have they been helpful to you as you've been transitioning to the US and US nursing?
They have been quite friendly people, and they're knowledgeable, and they're willing to share the knowledge that they have. So they have made life easy. And that's what, in fact, I was telling my manager the other day that, the kind of teamwork that the floor has is marvelous. It's just, it's marvelous because the work is heavy, but the fact that there is that teamwork, it makes it easier.
Okay, and now I want to kind of switch gears and talk about the culture. So the Kenyan culture and the US culture. So what do you miss most about Kenya?
I miss my relatives in Kenya because my extended family being in Kenya. I only have a brother here, and I haven't been able to visit him because of the COVID thing. Movement is restricted. You can't move. But I miss I miss my family in Kenya. I miss the foods, some of our traditional meals in Kenya. But I'm able to prepare some here, so on my own. But I miss the food. I miss the people. Yeah, that's what I miss mostly about Kenya. Yeah.
What Kenyan food have you been able to make here in the US?
Yeah, I've been able to make pilau. I've been able to make githeri. Yeah, githeri is a mixture of beans and corn. So we boil them together, and then you can make you can fry it with tomatoes and also onions. Yeah, and pilau is like rice with a few spices. Yeah.
Great. And then how have you been able to incorporate the Kenyan culture into your life in the US?
Kenyans are friendly people. Kenyans are quite friendly people, and we have a saying in Kenya that hakuna matata. Just keep it cool, and it's helped me a lot, especially creating rapport with the patients, because at times you might find that a patient is not open. They don't want to talk to you, but as a nurse, you should be able to talk to the patient, because as you are interacting with the patient, there are some things that the patient might tell you maybe, and they hadn't said before. And if you haven't created a good rapport with the patient, taking care of that patient will be a little bit difficult for you. So that has been one asset that has been, has been very key in me giving quality healthcare. So the fact that Kenyans are easygoing people, and we are open, we talk, we chat, we talk, and we are friendly. It has become very vital. It might seem as something that's quite simple, and it might seem not very important, but it is. Creating rapport with your patients, it's quite important.
And what has transition to US culture been like for you?
I will say for me, it hasn't been difficult, because one thing with me is that I don't judge people. I respect other people's opinions. So for me, the fact that I respect other people and I respect their opinion, it has been quite easy for me. So.
And do you have any advice to give your fellow Kenyan nurses who are going through this journey and are on their way to arrive to the US?
Yes. try to hone some skills, some nursing skills like fixing IV lines. In some hospitals, you will need to do blood draws. So you can also try to practice doing blood draws for some hospitals. And also the physical exam. Hone your skills and perfect the art and science of doing a physical exam. And, come with an open mind, be friendly. So, don't come and feel scared and, just take it easy. People here are quite friendly. Yeah, quite friendly. So come with an open mind and just be friendly to people here.
Well, Hiro, you've done a great job. Thank you so much for helping us with this video and answering all these questions. We're super excited. We're excited to put the video together and show it next time you're in Kenya and when we host our virtual event that is coming up. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye, Hiro. Thanks again.
Okay. Thank you, Anne. Bye. Have a good one. Bye.